Hey, what is up guys? So we're going to be doing a deck profile here today for Cosmos. I'm sure you guys know why. Today is May the 4th, so I figured it might have made sense for me to actually make this particular deck profile. I do apologize for the lawn mowing in the background. Hopefully you can't hear it, it's the next door neighbor's lawn mowing I think. But I just really wanted to get this video out here. And yeah, let's just get started. So to begin, we're playing 3 copies of Dark Destroyer, of course, still one of our greatest cards ever. And for that, I mean, there's no reason to play any less, right? So yeah, moving on, we're playing 1 copy here of Dark Eclipser, also a very great card as well. We're playing 1 copy here of Forerunner. So far, so normal. I would have to say that with Dark Eclipser, I originally had it at 2 copies, but I decided to actually drop it down to 1 because I felt it was a bit more appropriate in this particular format where I didn't really feel as confident with trap cards being as prevalent. So I felt that 1 was enough for me to do the job to take out just the very few trap cards that might appear. With that being said, I am playing a bit more of a recovery kind of style here, so we're playing Kozmo Dogfighter, 2 copies of it. This is not the typical virus build that I normally go with, so because of that I don't need to max it out. It's more so just allowing you to summon out extra pieces for either link climbing or just for extra beat sticks. With that being said, there are more monster effects going around these days, so 2 copies of Dark Lady I feel is more justifiable, and because of that, she definitely deserves a placing here with 2 copies because it is definitely going to be a very key card for this particular format. We're also playing here 3 copies of Slip Rider. I feel that Slip Rider is still a really relevant card, to be honest. I think if anything, spell trap removal should be more emphasized now. We're seeing a lot more continuous spell cards. Like I said, with trap cards you will see the occasional few, so if Dark Eclipser can't do the job, then Slip Rider could actually deal with them during the opponent's end phase when they set it that turn, so because of that they won't be able to even activate it anyway. Slip Rider is definitely going to help out, not to mention he has the ability to float from the deck via these guys, or he could float into the smaller ones as well, which is definitely very helpful. For the level 4, we're only really playing the Wicked Witch. I have actually thought about whether or not Cosmos will actually release a level 4 ship, because, you know, you have a level 5 ship here and then you have a level 5 pilot. I figured if you're going to have a level 4 pilot, could they actually bring out a level 4 ship as well? It might seem a bit, I guess, not as crazy to go for, or not as relevant to go for, but I think it would be quite fun to actually do that. And you know, you could give it a 2k beat stick effect, which would be quite decent, and yeah, I would really like that. But Cosmos has definitely fallen behind in terms of this type of support it could potentially get. With that being said, we're playing 2 copies here of Sword Troopers. It could float into these guys, of course, but at the same time, it has a nice, I guess, cycling effect. You can revive itself, so you could constantly just revive one, use the one that already used their effect to link climb, and then you keep reviving it over and over and over again. It's definitely a really fun loop that you just keep going with. If you guys want to actually see more details on this, I have left like test hands on this channel before, so you should be fine if you watch those videos to understand the whole loop with all the interactions with Sword Troopers. But that being said, we have 2 copies here of Farm Girl, still a very relevant card. I do see people going on and off about the ratios of this, whether you're playing 1 copy or whether or not you're playing 2 copies, but from that I personally wanted to go for 2 copies, and it definitely helped search out all your Dark Destroyers to pretty much just go for the final OTK, which is definitely very nice here. That being said, we're playing 2 copies here of Strawman. Strawman, you don't really need to go for 3 copies. 2 copies is more than enough. And yeah, it's quite nice. And we're playing 3 copies here of Tin Can. Still one of the greatest starters of any deck, really. And even if your opponent has a hand trap available, you always have Called by the Grave ready to go. Otherwise, you could also just chain off Tin Can's effect to just summon out one of your ships already in your hand, and I think that's amazing already. So that pretty much sums it up for the Kozmo monsters. So with that being said, the new additions to the deck we're playing is I'm playing 2 copies here of Nibiru, the Primal Being. Definitely very nice. Yeah, very happy to actually have 2 copies of this. If I had a 3rd copy of it, would I actually add it onto the deck? I don't really think that's necessary. I might put the 3rd copy in my side deck, but to have 2 copies of Nibiru is definitely helping out this deck quite a bit, because you're reducing all your opponent's monsters so that they only have 1 monster. And when they only have 1 monster that's pretty much vulnerable to anything, Dark Destroyer will destroy it, and that will allow you to just clear the board. So Nibiru has actually become a really, really good card to actually help out this deck quite a bit. But with that being said, I'm sure you guys already noticed there's a bunch of light monsters, there's a bunch of dark monsters. What can I actually play to further push the boundaries of this particular deck? And I am actually playing a Chaos Dragon Leviania. Yes, this is a very weird tech to actually add in, but it's something that has actually been working quite fine lately. I've been testing this out in Dueling Book, and you know, I really like this card. It definitely works better in Cosmos than it does in Rockets. That's one surprising thing I found out, is that there's less synergy in Rockets, there's more synergy here in Cosmos. So Chaos Dragon Leviania, definitely give it a go. I mean, it's been reprinted in Dual Overload, so definitely very nice. However, that pretty much sums it up for all the monsters in the deck. Let's move on to the spells and traps. Alright, so on to the spells. We're playing 3 copies here of Cosmo Town, definitely. Still one of the greatest cards in the deck. I've seen people actually decrease it to 2 copies, which I could understand why they might do that, but even so, I do think that Cosmo Town is such a great card that has 3 different effects. I think it's one of the best field spells in the entire game, if not the best. But moving on, we're playing a Monster Reborn. Just nice to bring back your Cosmos. They don't have any difficult summoning conditions, so Monster Reborn to bring back a Dark Destroyer pretty much just deals with the opponent, and it's just very nice. It's one of the most viable cards in this particular format. I mean, you would think Monster Reborn would be played a bit more in other decks, but sadly I don't actually see that. So to see it actually work well here in Cosmos is definitely something that I feel a bit more satisfied about in terms of Monster Reborn. 3 copies of Called by the Grave, just stops all hand traps. The 1-for-1 for Tin Can, of course. We're also playing the Emergency Telly, so that's fine there. But we are playing 2 copies here of MST. Why am I not playing Cosmic Cyclone? Because you're already paying life points with Cosmos. I don't want to decrease it any further. So Mystical Space Typhoon works pretty well here. On top of that, it's also chainable to destroy your own Cosmo Town, which could trigger off some certain effects as well. So that's definitely very nice here. I also chose this over Twin Twisters because Twin Twisters requires you to destroy 2, which I felt that you didn't really need it in this particular format as much. And not to mention, you also had to discard your cards, which with Cosmos, most of your resources are going to be in your hand because your pilots will be floating into the ships, vice versa from the deck. But yeah, with MST, it definitely works better than both Cosmic Cyclone and Twin Twisters, at least in Cosmos. We're playing 2 copies here of Cosmojo for the trap cards. I felt 2 was definitely more than enough. Didn't really need to go into a 3rd copy of it. But yeah, it's definitely helping out quite well, of course. And we're playing the 2 copies here of Crackdown just to take your opponent's monsters, leave them either empty, or you could use their monsters as link materials, which is definitely very nice. But that's pretty much it for the main deck, so let's move on to the extra deck. Now, the extra deck isn't really as crucial because Cosmos obviously don't really need them. They're kind of similar to Necros in this sense. So with that being said, these cards are more so just facilitations and less so a crucial aspect of it. We're just playing a Borrello Dragon, playing a Wee Witch's Apprentice, because you have Dark Monsters, of course, Nightmare Cerberus, Phoenix, just nice utility. You can go into rank 8s with the Dark Destroyers, so I'm playing Dingirsu, I'm playing number 38, definitely viable options here. I'm also playing Durandal, Infinity, which we'll go into via Nova, so definitely quite nice there. We're playing the Volcasaurus, we're playing the Pleiades, we're playing Armageddon, we're playing Tyrus. These guys are just the rank 5s that you could easily go into with the Slip Riders, and you also have the Shark Fortress as well. So just a good variety there. And for rank 2s, especially with the Strawman, you could potentially go into Gantetsu as well, or Gachigachi, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck. Very simple, very straightforward, and there are really not too many combos that you have to worry about. You could always just watch the test hands that I've done in the past deck profiles, so just go and check out the channel and you'll find a bunch of them. But yeah, this is just something that I really want to put out for this particular day, because it was definitely quite crucial. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this particular deck profile. Definitely leave a like if you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more videos, then definitely subscribe. But in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.